Welcome back to our how-to series on the Climatiq Excel add-in. In this video, we cover the Intermodal Freight Transport formula. This is useful for GHG categories 3.9, which is downstream transportation and distribution, and scope 3.4, upstream transportation and distribution. The Climatiq Intermodal Freight Transport formula allows you to calculate carbon emissions from freight shipments across road, rail, air, and sea directly within Excel. For each shipment, Climatiq automatically identifies the closest ports, terminals, and hubs, and determines the pre- and post-legs. Behind the scenes, this formula uses real-world routing data from trusted sources such as OpenStreetMaps, HereMaps, and Eurostat, ensuring realistic routes and distances between your origin and destination. If Google Maps can find it, we can find it. The methodology follows the GLEC framework, developed by the Smart Freight Center, the global standard for logistics emissions accounting, and is fully ISO 14083 compliant. Let's start by taking a look at the documentation in the task pane. The formula is called Climatiq.calculate intermodal freight transport, and it accepts up to 7 inputs. Let's break these down. So there's a starting point, which is your shipment's origin, and this can be in the form of addresses, cities, port names, coordinates, IATA airport codes, or even UN low codes. You then also need to specify an ending point, so this is your destination, and it accepts the same format options as available for the starting point. You then will specify a mode, so this is your mode of transport, for example, by air, road, rail, or sea, followed by the weight, which is the amount of cargo being shipped, your weight unit, so this is, for example, kilograms, tons, pounds, and so forth. And then there's also a direct option. So this is whether to include pre and post legs in the journey or not, which is just going to be a true or false input. Lastly, there's the vehicle details. It's an optional additional input, so you can also specify details such as the vehicle size or maybe the fuel being combusted. The required inputs to make a calculation are only the start, the destination, the mode, the weight, and weight unit. The rest are completely optional. Let's walk through a quick example. To prepare the file, I made sure to have columns for start, end, mode, weight, weight unit, direct, and vehicle details to align with the formula's inputs. In this example, the starting point is Barcelona, Spain, and the end is in Hamburg, Germany. The mode is of type air, and the weight 250, and the weight unit in kilograms. We'll set direct to false so that the route includes the pre- and post-transport legs, such as the road freight from the warehouse to the airport and from the airport to the delivery location. Now that our data is ready, let's calculate. To start, click on an empty cell, click equals, and then select the intermodal freight formula from the drop-down. Alternatively, you can insert the formula directly via the Excel task pane. Then select each input one by one. The starting point, the end, the mode, weight, weight unit, direct, and vehicle details, separated by commas or semicolons depending on your Excel settings. Close the brackets, hit enter, and within moments the formula returns an emissions estimate. Before we review the outputs, I always recommend clicking the Add Header button in the task pane to label the columns. It makes it much easier to read the results. So looking at the results, the first column displays your total emissions in kilograms of CO2 equivalent. You'll also see the total distance traveled in kilometers between the start and end points, followed by the applied emission factors used in the calculation. Lastly, there's also a route breakdown of the identified route with all the transport legs, as well as the distances and emissions per leg. To make the calculation for all the business data you have in the sheet, pull down on the formula to apply across all the rows. Finally, if you want to get a quick start, Climatiq also provides a freight template. You can find it in the task pane under the Templates tab, which includes pre-filled examples, required input fields, and active formulas that you can edit or expand with your own shipping data. You've now learned how to calculate freight shipping emissions across all major transport modes using the Climatiq Excel add-in. To learn how to use other Climatiq formulas, including travel, fuel, and procurement calculations, check out the other videos in this how-to series. I'll see you in the next video.